Welcome to our Facebook Live questions and answers, where we answer your questions. Thank you to everyone who has sent in their questions this week. I hope you've had a decent week. We had a really good response to last week's questions. I seem to hit home to quite a few of you. That's what we hope by this whole process, that some of you will get some new ideas or some things, that new techniques that you can change things at home so that everybody's better off. So today we've got 3 new questions sent in by our listeners. You guys have been firing the questions in left, right and centre, which is great. Keep them coming. I'm more than happy to answer them. We might just not answer them in the week that you send them in, because we are getting quite a few, which is great. Before we kick off, there are 2 things I want to let you know. One, we have a parenting course on the 28th of September in Dublin. It's a 1-day course. If anyone's interested in coming along, you can go to our website, helpmetoparent.ie, and book onto that course. And we also have a parenting after separation and divorce course for anyone who may be going through that process, where you get a certificate of participation that is accepted by the Irish court system. So there's 2 1-day parenting courses coming up at the end of the month. So if you're interested, well, you can always just drop me a message or a comment below. That'll be great. The second thing, with the response to my interview with Martin Doyle, we've had a lot of interest in running his resilience workshop. So we are just putting the finishing touches together, where we will have a 2-hour webinar for people to sign up to. We're hoping around the middle of October. We will confirm the date as soon as possible. But again, if you're interested in taking part in that webinar, we're going to have it at a reduced price for the first one and see how it goes. But people seem to be quite interested, which is great. So we will get the information out to you as quickly as possible. I should have it all finalised by next week anyway, and a link to sign up to that. As always, the Patreon page keeps this podcast and all the other podcasts going. I want to thank each of the patrons that have supported us so far. We really, really do appreciate it. Personally, it means a lot. It means we're able to keep producing the podcast on a weekly basis. Who knows, we might be able to up that up a bit more. Well, actually, technically, we have the motivation interviews going out on a Tuesday, and we have this generally on a Wednesday, but on a Thursday for this week. So, yeah, it really does mean a lot. So thank you so much to everyone who's contributed. Some people are contributing €1 a week or a month. Some people are contributing €5 a month, €10 a month. It's whatever anyone can afford. It does make a difference though. So even if you only have €1 and that's all you can support, great. It does make a difference and it adds up. So I appreciate that. Patreon.com/Alan O'Donoghue podcasts. So head on over there if you do have a spare change that you could throw my way once a month. Right, let's get into these ones. Again, you're not sending me in easy ones, which I'm really happy about. Anyway, my daughter has started her final year in school. She's always been quite a conscientious student and works pretty hard at her studies. I've seen her friends drop their interest in school and spoke to their parents, who are extremely worried for their kids' futures, so I don't have that complaint. My worry for my daughter is that she seems to be getting more and more anxious about the future and what she's going to do. While she has interests in her subjects, she says there is nothing that is really grabbing her in terms of her future career. Since she went back to school, she has seemed increasingly anxious and is almost at the point of being obsessed with her leaving certificate. This has had a knock-on effect that she is less inclined to spend time with her friends or do things in the evenings or weekends, as she feels she could be studying all the time. Have you any tips on how we can help her manage her emotions and at the same time realise that this isn't the be-all and end-all? Now, a lot of parents that I work with will say the same thing. So traditionally, years ago, there would have been a lot of pressure from parents, because the general wisdom or belief was that, okay, you have to work really, really hard at your leaving cert in order to get a good job or the chance of a good career. That's less so the reality. Okay, it does make things easier. It does mean that you can move a bit quicker through the process, but it doesn't mean that's the be all and end all. And the stress that teenagers are being put under, and sometimes it's themselves putting themselves under pressure. So I do work with a lot of parents who will say, we don't mind if they don't get all A's. We don't mind if they don't do as well as they think they can do. It's okay. We just want them to be stressed less, and we want them to be more content within themselves. So a lot of the times the stress comes from the teenagers themselves. Now that can be as a consequence of the school system that we have set up, so that everything is funneled into getting this leaving certificate. And for those of you not in Ireland, the leaving certificate is the final exams that we do here prior to going to university. So how well you do in the leaving certificate influences the course choices that you have, the amount of options that are available to you. So what I will say is that the first things is to try and sit down there and say, right, let's make a realistic study plan, because she can't study 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But sometimes people do think that. Sometimes people think, well, if I just do half an hour more, or if I just do an hour more, and all of a sudden they're not going to bed till 2, 3 in the morning, and then they're up at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning to go to school. They need their sleep. Teenagers need their sleep more so than anybody else. So it's really important that we try to get that structure. So sit down with her, look at how can we practically put a study plan in place. The other thing I'd say is it is important that just because she sits in a room for 3 hours doesn't mean the information is going in. So it's important that she takes breaks. So if she can study for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and then take a 10 or 15 minute break, again, you might need to help her through this, where you go up and say, right, time's up, time to come have a cup of tea, pick up your phone, have a read, chat to your friends, whatever it might be. Look at getting out for walks in the evenings if you can. Try and encourage her to spend time with her friends. Maybe put a study ban in place. Now, that might seem counterintuitive, but, a lot of parents would put study times in place where you must be studying between these times. A study ban on people who are feeling the pressure to study all the time might be just as important. So on a Saturday afternoon for 4 or 5 hours, there is no study. Now, that might not work, but at least you're trying something different, and that she has to go out and spend time with her friends. It's really important. And then talk her through it. Talk her through, okay, what do you want to do? I think maybe that's the pressure for her, is that she doesn't have a clue what it is that she wants to do, and that's okay. The amount of teenagers who come to me with anxiety because they haven't a clue, and here they are looking at social media, seeing everyone else, as far as they're concerned, everybody else knows what they want to do, and they're all making money, and they're all following their passion. That's just not real life. Yes, you may follow your passion. Yes, you may become extremely successful at it, and you may do it at a very young age. Fantastic. But that percentage of the population is absolutely minuscule, and so many people think that they have to know what they want to do. And there's still those little, I suppose, inklings of, we need to get the profession that we're going to do for the rest of our lives, and that's not true. That's not real. We can change anytime. So many people I know have changed their careers in their 30s, 40s, 50s. I know people who've started careers in their 60s. It doesn't matter. You can do something anytime you want. It takes a lot of work. You might be inclined as you get older to not do that, but that's okay too. So sit down with her, make a plan, maybe have study breaks implanted that she has to do. Look at doing it the 50-minute study time, 10-minute break, 15-minute break, then go back and study, so that she is getting to switch off from something else and concentrate on something else. And then look at getting her back, spending time with her friends, and see how that goes. If her anxiety levels are going through the roof, do contact me. I do work, as I say, with a lot of teenagers who are struggling with anxiety. So it is something that can be managed, and I can give her the skills that she needs. So just drop me an email and we can set up an appointment date. Sorry, I have a spider climbing all over my ear. Hope that works okay for you. Right, next one. News up. It's a coffee morning. It's pretty rubbish outside today. So I'll be drinking a lot of coffee today. Any excuse to drink a lot of coffee. My 7-year-old son is a great child. He has tons of friends in the street that we live on and wants very little to do with devices. Myself and my husband are pretty sporty and take part in different clubs. This The issue we have is that any time our son starts to do a new sport, he wants to drop out after a few sessions as he says he doesn't like it. We know how important it is for our children to get exercise and be healthy, and we want to instill that in him, but we are really struggling to find what he's interested in. Any suggestions? Yeah, what can happen a lot of the time is when a child goes and tries something new, they can be nervous, okay, because they're doing something they've never done before, exactly like an adult. 2, they're probably not going to be as good as most of the other people around them, so they might feel intimidated going, I'm not at the level they're at, so I don't want to do it. And 3, they may not be interested as such in the sport that you're bringing them to. They may have said, I'd like to try it, but then they give it a go and say, it's not for me. What I will say, and I always say to parents, is look, you need to set up an agreement with your child, so to speak, that they're going to give it at least 3 months. Okay, so you're not going to sign them up for anything unless they're committing to do it for 3 months, but they have to do something, because it is important for your child to get exercise. It's important for your child to have that outlet where they're getting to spend time with other kids, learning how to work in a team. There's lots of positive skills. Now, not every child is interested in sports. That's okay too. But then look at what are the other activities that they can do. Is there a walking club? Is there something, a running club? Just something to get them through that processing of learning with teamwork, learning about exercise, the importance of it. Because there are tons of non-sporty people all over the world. They could be shouting at the screen right now, but they do exercise, they do walk, they do, jog, whatever it might be. And if they don't, they're probably even a doctor tell them that you need to get out and do some more exercise, because as they get older, the metabolism slows down and we start to put on weight. It's just a natural consequence. So it's important that, yes, he does, but he needs to not be allowed to drop out after 2 or 3 sessions, because if that becomes the routine, he'll know that, okay, I can stop. So I'll go and do this, put in a little bit of effort, and if it doesn't grab me straight away, I'll just stop, and that's that. So he is 7 years of age. He's just discovering the world. He's just discovering that, the world does not revolve around him. And try and hook in his friends. What are his friends? Like, if you say he has a lot of friends in the street, are they doing things? Now, they may be, and maybe he is not getting to play with them because maybe his age group is different to theirs. That's okay too. But it is important to try and make sure that he does give something a good try. Sometimes it can take a year for it to really click, and then your child realises that actually I am quite good at this, or I can do all these things that I couldn't do before. So now I am quite interested in the activity. So yeah, this is the thing for me. But let them try different things. But there needs to be a minimum of 3 months commitment. Now, you might have a very clever child to turn around and maybe watch the clock and go, okay, in 3 months, I'll just say I don't want to do it. But if at that stage they're saying they don't want to do it, then it's probably not for them. It's probably not that interesting. But they can only stop it if they start something else, and see how that goes. Okay, last one for today. We're getting through them pretty quick. Our son is 13 and is extremely highly intelligent, and he has a drive that we just can't keep up with. I know a lot of parents will tell us how lucky we are, but it really does present a lot of challenges to us. He feels he wants to do extra classes and subjects in school, as he says the stuff they are learning just bores him, as he finds it so easy. We have enrolled him in a special education class the weekend, where he can be with similar children doing university level subjects. He is loving this and seems to be making friends with his classmates. The concern I have is that he might burn himself out, as his brain is constantly going. He can get obsessive about subjects, and I've found him reading things at 3 a.m. on a school night. I don't want him to miss out on the normal teenage things because he's stuck in his book so much. How can I get him to channel that enthusiasm into things like pastimes and involve friends, as he doesn't want to do sports and activities. He doesn't want to do the sports and activities that they do. So I think you raise a really important point. There's a lot of parents will assume that if you have a child who loves reading and loves studying and is highly intelligent, that's just fantastic. And while it is very good, it can present its own challenges. So he can go to school every day and he can start to get bored very, very quickly. So it is important that he is challenged. I suppose in some ways it's counterintuitive to what I was just talking about in the last one, and that's okay too. But maybe this is his passion. And maybe it is okay for him to be doing all this extra stuff, because this might present him with career opportunities as he gets older. And, you know, doing the classes, the college level classes, obviously isn't a struggle for him. So he's probably getting credits as he's going along. So I think it is important that he has those interests, and that you encourage them, which you clearly are. I wouldn't worry so much about the not that I wouldn't worry about the friends and stuff, but maybe that going back to what we were saying in the last one is about setting time where, you know, you need to be out with your friends for a couple of hours in the evening or an hour in the evening. You need to go out and spend time with them, whether it's just going for a walk or running around, because what you'll probably find is that if he does go out with his friends, they are kind of running around or, you know, just walking and stuff like that. So he's getting the exercise and he's spending time with his friends. And, you know, who knows, he may take up a sport as he goes along. He's coming into that funny age where, as I said many times, 14 is the toughest age in my experience for a lot of kids, where they're not children anymore, but they haven't got the mental maturity to understand the consequence maybe of the decisions that they make. So it's going back to getting that balance where you can say to them, right, absolutely, you know, we will completely encourage you, but you have to play your part and make sure that you are going to bed at a reasonable time, that you are not staying up late really all night. Like, probably what a lot of parents listening to this will say, I can't get my child off the Xbox or the PlayStation or whatever the console is until 2 a.m. And everyone will be going, oh my God, that's horrendous. Whereas a lot of parents listening to this will go, I wish my child would read until 2 or 3 a.m. But he does need his sleep. So as best as possible, like, you can't be watching your kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, you know, if he chooses to read at night and you're not aware of it, he's going to be okay, unless you're noticing that it's a regular occurrence and he is struggling in the mornings, every single morning. But he may be actually jumping out of bed going, I can't wait to go and learn more. So, and maybe, you know, maybe you guys can look at, you know, making sure that he does get out, even with you guys, for a walk. If you've got a pet, dog, whatever, get him out walking that way. But it is important that he has that time with his friends. And while he may not have the same interests in sport as them, that might happen as he goes along and he changes his mind. So what I'd say to you is encourage it, support it, but do try and put those boundaries in place for him, where he is getting sleep more regularly, and he is getting exercise and eating as well, because what you may find is that he gets so engrossed in what he's studying or researching, he forgets to eat. So it's important that he gets some sort of structure, and see how that goes. But do come back to me if you need anything. That's us for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a bit shorter than last week's, but just come up 20 odd minutes. Our podcast will be out. If you have not checked out the Motivation Interview podcast that I do, just search for Alan O'Donoghue Motivation Interview Podcasts on whatever app you use or in Google. You will find it. This week we put out our interview with Lisa Heaney, who is a businesswoman, has created Aroma Bump and Aroma Buff for reflexology. I suppose, what's the word I'm looking for? I wish she was here now, she can explain it. Products that can be helpful for people. She is really, really interesting. She's a lovely person, and I love her drive to take an interest in what it was that helped her through some difficult times and has brought that on to become a successful businesswoman. So you can check that out. Now, do check out Aroma Buff or Aroma Bump if you want to learn more about Lisa, and we will see you next week. Take care.